home. We hang out too much.
That's
I think
true.
this is nature's way of telling us. And it was a very solid line on the test. Now it's very faint, if even there. But
That's a very good way to describe it. And you know what? I think even if we can't make it, the answer is always, why do it yourself when robots can do it better? So
why do it yourself when robots can do it better?
Honestly, at this point, what do we have any robots in EU League? I would look forward to people's ends. Oh no, it's robot.
That's the one thing about being home. If I'm home with production, I have just so many more toys to play with, just to mess with production. I'll save them. You don't want to overuse.
Leave it for the G2 game, because that'll be one for the ages.
I mean, yeah, we'll maybe need the entertainment. I mean, here we will potentially need the entertainment that's going to come through here. Heroic versus Secret is the game that we have on our hands. And if you've only really been watching EUL, you'll get the very strong idea, obviously, that they're doing pretty well. And to be honest, they are. But they've obviously had their most recent knock against Wolves, who are sitting at the top of the board. They did also lose out against 10 Star, who are a very good team inside the Northern Premier League, the NPL.
That's true. And you know what? That always kind of raises questions. But at the same time, you're thinking, it should be fine. The pressures of putting up super weeks and all of that, they really do get to you. So I wouldn't personally, that is, from my limited knowledge of Rainbow Six. Yeah, it might not be the most difficult of issues that they might be facing, but we'll get to see how this runs out. Reminder, we are on bank, if you couldn't tell. If you're brand new to all this is where it all gets cash money. And I'm excited. Alibi on the run. I know Fresh is very happy watching this. He opted not to cast, but to co-stream at EUL, so good on him. What a weirdo indeed. But
yeah,
Alibi is in play, so a lot of people are going to complain, oh, why Alibi? Why not literally any other operator? And honestly, I couldn't tell you, because last time, at least a few years ago, and I used to talk about Alibi, I got flamed really hard. So I'm just going to put that aside for a moment.
You have been a while. I like that. Prisma activated outside, just to let us know. Yeah, there is the pop-up for the players. They're well aware. Just to play against them in dirt, it's frustrating. It's irritating. It just kind of keeps a consistent ping on the front of a screen, which when you're trying to go for a close down, it's something that makes that approach much trickier as well if you're trying to push your way through dirt, get past them. But it seems like it's starting its way here over the top. A standard approach to bank, see if you can try and get some lockdown on the roam as the players up and around the map, and Benj is going to be the tip of the spear. And the role of the Finker, person who has picked up 2 MVPs from the Playdays this split so far. Is he going to start here with a bit of a bang and try and angle for his third?
Yeah, and honestly, the Finka, we know how strong it is with the LMG, spear or not, to be honest, but okay, driving it right into the Clyde Electroclaw there on top of the hatch, but whatever, lost, it's all right. I'm wondering how Savage will be retreating back if any hatches are left open for him, but hey, he just goes down the stairs, if anything, wasting time as much as possible here. An open area, gets shot down, there's Benjas for his opener, the one you're looking for.
There it is, over the top. They had it locked down, very, very well put together there. The pinch came through, the bit of the pressure. I think the hatch was open there. He had the option to try and take that as a drop as well, but now it's going to turn into a little bit of a weakness and a flaw. The extension over to open has nobody else that can be in a position to swing around. The Pulse is trying and just grab as much intel as possible of the rest of this approach. Kendrew, though, I say no one might be able to swing around. The Alibi, they've tucked themselves in there, just hanging around. Seeing if they can get ready for a swing, and that drone, I don't know if it caught them. I don't think it did.
Oh no, he's so close. Kendrew, he just can spray through the wall if needed, but he's just waiting for the right moment, biding his time. This is very smart here. The Habana in the meantime is opening up all the hatches, so Grizzly is just busy doing the work, because Fluke, why would you ever expect an Alibi just sitting solo waiting for people in staff room? It makes no sense. He's gonna pounce. Oh, he gets the first one. Bench it down.
There it is, the first. Gets the drone, gets himself tucked in just on the side of the hatch, and Sleben wants to pop his way up to as well. Isn't going to rotate his way back round onto Kansan, but Sleben caught out underneath the hatch, and there it is. One more that falls again in the fight. Scrappy over the top, but Kendrew doing everything to keep biting them in. One more, and that one is on Kansan, but finally caught out. and taken care of. A 2 versus 2, 20 seconds. And they've got to see if they can try and drive themselves down towards the site itself. The hatches are open, but it's a pretty dangerous position to go for that drop. There's still a rotate from Saves that's come around over the top as well, leaving the single player. It's worked out though. They're able to find out Grizzly. Keenan going for the swing, the angle towards the last one.
There it is.
And it's a pre-fire for a secret round built on the back of Kendrew.
Very well done. Kenny is always the lurking machine in a perfect position to just realize, hey, if nobody's going to poke me up in stairs, I'm just going to walk in. And I'm wondering where flank drones were at. Reminder, it was a 5v4 in that situation, so Heroic had every advantage in manpower. And when your Hibana is just opening things up, maybe you want to keep an eye on what's happening. There should be always somebody on that staircase, but I guess Heroic's attention were just taken somewhere else. And a site that is a very 50-50 now is lost for the attack of Heroic on what is, again, considered the most attacker-favorite map right now. You can talk about it all you will. It's something you can genuinely spend days arguing. In general, the game shifted more towards the attack, so losing this round is just not going to be super great. Now that you head into open area, questions will start to arise as to, well, how to break through the Izami plus the castle duopoly. You have a Cloud as well that's going to be able to stop all the hatches from being opened up. Malusi to slow you when you drop in, and the always looming danger of, well, we can at any point in time have somebody jump up hatches or flank us in Keenan. So a lot of flexibility, but Heroic are bringing a bit of their own. Not only they have the Finca and grenades on Gorgona, but they're also bringing the Fuse. That can do quite a bit of work.
Will it, though? That is the question now that's sort of propped up. They have the Jackal, and they have some potential at catching out the roam play. It's not the most sort of prevalent thing on an attack towards this sort of site because, well, you're probably more aware and attuned to the chance that players tucked in on corners on the top floor. Down in the basement, it's less seen, and it was part of the punishment that came through against them. But Azuno starts the spray and the pressure. Savage with Keenan on the swing round, who's now taking up some of the mental and the pressure on this top floor play instead of being that anchor player down in gold. Their potential is always very high, and that's why they're going to be the first off the board. Sloth went for the pinch there. The Jackal's driven themselves through. Savage bites back on the white stairs, able to just find the rotate all the way down. An important refrag. And with Jackal gone, they've sort of wrested control of top.
Yeah, at least now you don't have to think about the smokes that would sometimes overwhelm the site once the hatches are open. It will slow you down, but now Secret, I mean, they lost an operator that's not super consequential to how this whole setup is run. So the Oryx, yes, great to have in the late round, but it's all right. He's done the work, considering that it's a 1-to-1 trade, and Savage was able to do the damage that was required. Now it's on Heroic that again find themselves in a similar position as last round, where now they're opening up the walls, the floorboards, they're looking for another pick, something to give them advantage, but Secret are having none of it. They're playing back, and at least the hatches are open, but it might take too long for Uno to find a pick here.
It becomes quite dangerous when this starts all falling apart. There's not a lot of places that you can dig yourself in, but with the quad wall being something you have to pay a lot of attention to, otherwise you're stuck just trying to pop through a hatch, and it's still electrified, it's still locked down, and it's still got an Azami with a chance of swinging around and causing some problems. Sleben! Well, there it is, the catch out, the grenades rolled through, forced the play, and Benja was able to get that final pick with the grenade. The Fuse doing everything to force them further and further away from the hatch. The flashes go through. It's going to still be a dangerous approach here. They don't have the true lockdown. They swing and spray towards the door. Gorgono's got a little bit of width there, but it's the rotate round on the top. Saves, finds one, looks for the second. The kit is cold on that second story. 20 seconds. Once again, a rotate and a player tucked in a corner has been devastating. Grizzly picks it back up, goes for the drop down. Saves has crept his way via beepers. They're spraying and doing everything that an LMG can do, but a post plant. They didn't know it had been recollected. They didn't know they'd been able to get the drop down into the hatch, and now they don't know if they have a route through onto the site. One playing around cans and one tucked in and pinged through the wall. Can't quite get the full connection there. They're both still sitting on full health with a frag in pocket that Gorgona could maybe try a risky loose on, but doesn't need to. Heroic take the round.
Unfortunate there for Team Secret, but hey, the advantage was squandered. The grenades were very well.
He called Fabian Daddy on Twitter earlier today.
These two,
You
honestly,
and I have been away for a week, and Jack called Fabian daddy on a public forum.
okay. Well, the public forum of Twitter is indeed the best place for all the high-level IQ discussion. Not that IQ is anything, anyways. You know, it's just a way of speaking. But
It
you
is.
know,
Yeah.
I bet you right now, Fluke, Jack has never slept in the same bed half naked with Fabian. I have. So tell me what you think about that. I'm just putting it out there. I am intellectually
I don't know
honest.
what I think about that. I don't know if I'm happy.
I don't think you can think about
I know
that in public.
both of your girlfriends, and they're both wonderful people. So I can't have an opinion on
There
this.
you
I'm
go.
sorry.
Shout out to the girlfriends. You deal with us.
Shout out to partners out there everywhere.
Yeah, shout
of
out.
Esports personalities.
Oh,
I'm
good.
so sorry. To every single person who is
With someone who
romantically
works in esports.
involved in someone in esports, I'm so sorry. Hey,
There
we're
you
back
go.
in the game. 30
Yeah,
seconds
Udo's
have
back in.
Passed. It's 1-2-1. There was a tech pause. If you didn't notice. And they're going for the breach onto Kanto. They're getting themselves the angle down there. It cuts off the rotate, and then you can find yourself pinching things like stock earlier. You can try and put pressure around, and you also stop what is a big problem right now, which is Secret's rotate game.
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, I mean, even more. How do you hold a rotate? Like, you got all these cameras. You're literally bringing an extra operator just for cameras, but everything's being sniped out here by saves. So making sure with that yokai drone from Kendra that he's got eyes on everything, and making sure that Heroic have eyes on as little as humanly possible. As we get through with the round, at least the main lobby has been taken control of, but do you ever have control of main lobby is the question I'll ask, because it seems like you can get bounced on at any point. There's the nade up into default, and well, they're far away, but Secret, I mean, all they got to do is hold on, and well, they're gonna hold on a bit too tight. They're gonna get the first kill.
Once again, Sloth has got himself in pretty aggressively, looks towards the second after successfully finding the first there. They're trying to lock down again the top of White Stairs. Talked about this rotate game just before, and oh, they're still eyeing it up, and Savage finds out one in and amongst it. It's Benja that goes down. He's going to go for the full rotate back into open, but it saves. That is the person that is deciding to go for this rotate every single time. On a round from Secret's been slightly different here. Saves almost struck gold, but then found himself in a 1 versus 3, so isn't overextending. Kendrew, though, does get caught out. Uno over the top. Wanted to rock open with the angle there, but the Sam cams, which do work very well on this map, is going to start to get some of that control. The bit that they've lost there comes once again. Saves, strikes around the top, and removes one of the players. Sloth, a little bit isolated, trying to hold on for Gorgona.
Look at this! Saves is still sneaking through the lines, and there's nobody here to hold him. There's no zero cams, because obviously he destroyed them much earlier in the round. He had the Echo to help him out. There's the impact and the pre-fire, and Una's been taken down. Saves, great play here, and he still does not falter. He moves back just to make sure that he can flank later in the round. Beautiful play.
Wow, it's kind of potentially become a bit of a round-defining play here. 15 seconds, and they've got to struggle to try and get the kit down. Secret have Savage and Saves. The two S's are going to see if they can try and bring some success, but it's Sloth, third one, that gets that little lockdown. 5 seconds and a post-plant. Beepers is the spray, and Sloth is the one left standing. Almost pulled together there by Secret, but Heroic just pull it around.
Very well done here. Finally at the end, and still the same problem of, I think Heroic are faltering because of how large Bank can be. So you got a lot of space to deal with, a lot of empty space, and you're bringing the cams, but the cams are used way too early. So you have the zero, for example, Uno is setting up his cams early on. The problem is they are very easy to spot. And if you're not capitalizing on the information immediately, you might as well not invest 2 cams into that position. Maybe leave it to 1 in case somebody's poking at you early in the round and such. Heroic are winning the rounds, but they're winning them barely and in technicalities in ways that we know they should be better, especially, and this is not a knock on Secret really, but especially against Secret, where the team is lacking that experience in comparison. They have had issues over the past few weeks. Heroic should be having an easier time, But hey, we'll see if they can poke into it. They're bringing the Osa, so Uno, what's on his mind?
Progression. I think at this point they're going to see if they can maybe drive themselves. Look at this already. Gogona was almost starting up a fight with Kendrew straight onto Dirt server swing, and well, there it is, scrappy, and it didn't quite get the full connection that he wanted. He knows he can't quite risk it, and he knows that his number was caught a little bit quicker than they expected. Pulls himself back in, or doesn't. Just wanted to eye up the ladder and gets himself a little bit more drone and safety information implication. They actually kind of ignored that last time round. There was a couple of prismas in there the whole time, but they were caught out by the roam.
So, still up in the same position. Sloth, we've seen him in here doing a lot of work. Yes, he's been eliminated before, but can do a lot of damage in there, and at least getting that opener that's also important for Heroic. And at this point, it's Grizzly that will find it. Alibi as well. There's none of those prismas that have been set up solo inside of the sewer entry, and that allows at least Heroic to find the kill on saves. You'd love to have the pulse later on in the round, but he got caught with his pants down, and that does not look good.
That was it. He was again playing a super aggressive position in terms of, well, he was banged from a spawn. It was that sort of tucking on the small box that could be massive on a swing round, depending on where you know where they're entering you from. But this is the game that Heroic are learning more and more. Savage gets one, gets himself just tucked around on the corner, expects a little bit more of a fight. Sleben has just hopped his way up the hatch, I believe, to offer some support as well, so he's free to do this and look for a second and find it. Now he's going to see if he can spray through, but it's Sleben's support, as I said before, that gets it. Benja at least bites back onto a single player, but now tucked in at the top. Uno's going to try and drive themselves towards Kendrew, who's tucked behind the server stack here. They know roughly where the players are, but they haven't been able to isolate any of them.
And I'm wondering what's going on with the coordination here, because Uno is trying to enter the building from the sewers, and Benja, who had control, who successfully gained control of the staircase, did nothing about it really. Uno is going to head on out, and he's going to be stuck in that position himself. So the question is, are they just going to drop the hatches where there's 3 players that are back on site? They can't open any of this. I'm curious here how, why Heroic feels so disoriented. But one thing that they can also look at is that there's no pulse for them to have to deal with. And this might be an opportunity to plant, as you have the Osa and you have the sledge. You can open up the wall, and you should be in a relatively safe position with only 1 nitro on the other side, and they'll go for it.
Well, there's the smokes, the grenade over the top. Uno's going to kick just behind the chassis. There's some more work being done. Perfectly played on the C4. Waited and devastated. 3 seconds. He's got to drive for the kill, but he doesn't find him in time. Keenan. That little full stop at the end of the sentence.
That did not look good. I'll tell you what. There, sister. Heroic had control, but the problem was when you're seeing 2 players that are alive, when they're in positions that could be used to their advantage, they could actually creep up and take control. They could have saved 20 seconds in that position. They didn't do any of that. They had the comms between them. It seemed like Heroic had an issue with delivering the right information at the right time, and they suffered for it. That is a problem, and I'm wondering why it's showing up today out of all these days, but maybe the pressure of the Super Week before and the Super Week after is definitely getting to him. Just theory crafting at this point. But Secret held on. Again, they're able to find picks and then fall back. Yeah, in positions where they think, oh, we might lose a player here, but there's the potential for a second pick. They'll stay in that spot. Fair enough. When you're the underdog team, you got to do something crazy. But Secret have filled up 2 rounds now on defense, which is what you expect on Bank. If they're able to make it an even half, potentially by winning this next round, or the one after, it's going to look real good for Secret's next bit. And the same that we saw Uno doing before with the 0, opening up with his first cam, destroying the default cam, and just trying to find somebody at the top. Nobody just yet.
I think it's one of the things that we're sort of getting away from this is it's a 2-2, and, the rounds are sort of generally capitalizing in that final 20 seconds, but it's not expected for the defenders to be able to have this much And there it is. Wow, Savage with the double over the top of Square. Heroic once again being punished.
That looks incredibly good. So that's awesome for Secret right now. And remember, all you got to do is the defense. It's simple as, you know, sit back. I know I'm borrowing the lingo, but simple as stay back. You're the one that's supposed to just stay alive and hold back. And I'm wondering there, the drone was not able to detect the one player inside of... Oh, no. There's no way this is actually going to happen. He's going to walk out at the right moment. Ah, there it is. Okay. Half HP, but it's been done.
Yeah, he pulled the pin. He knew that there was the player in there, and he sort of just decided to take the fight. They had that idea, and they were going to root him out otherwise. But still, Savage able to get 2 kills. I know it was talked about before. Secret obviously haven't really had the best run for a while over Split 1 and now Split 2. But Savage, as that pickup, as an addition into the second split, has been good. Saves hasn't quite hit the mark as much as a veteran player could. This game, though, his positioning has been a little bit more creative on the defense, and maybe he's starting to come into a little bit of his own.
Oh, more of the hatches being opened up here. So Heroic definitely getting back into duty on this. So Gorgona is going to find another one to make it a 3-3. They've come back on this site before, and they still have control and hold on to that diffuser. It's all about finding that one more pick that they need, because Secret are running out of steam. They don't have any nitro cells that can save them in a clutch position. There's 2 grenades that are still left for Gorgona, so he has extra power should things come down, but dropping right into the hatch is not going to be the right idea. Gorgona is going to drop the completely other way, which is the right idea if you ask me, but fortunately makes too much noise. Finally is rotating across from that gold vault. Uno awaiting more info to dive into site. The setup is, well, being set up.
20 seconds, and
there it is.
The depth charge finds Keen, and the grenade played all the way underneath. They've put them into the 3 versus 2, but with the quad wall still standing, it's going to have to be a dangerous drop, as I always say, onto that stock hatch. Grizzly hits the ground, tucks his way through. There's been rounds that have come down to this, and it saves. There's 1, there's 2, there's a fight back from Uno. He's got to try and find the kid on the floor or look for a last player, but the pings are against him. The time is 2. And doesn't even hold it all the way. It is 3 rounds now for Secret on the defense.
And that's what I was fearing. 3 rounds on the defense is too much for the defense to have on bank. You might be thinking, yeah, but you know, it should be fine, right? Why is bank so attacker sided? Well, you have the flexibility of the attack operators. You can grenade, you can force the defenders into tiny positions where it's easier to lob explosives at them, and you can do that very early into the round just because of how large the map is. Yes, if you're not coordinated, you're gonna have problems with the mass of the map itself, but it seems like that is the problem that Heroic are going through. Look at that doubles. There was nobody that scouted out Savage in that position, where it 100% should not have gone down the way that it did. A lot of issues still for Heroic. Scouting drones. I know Fabian's going to talk about it. He harps on about it, and he's completely right. Where are your drones? And I don't want him to start, talking about these things the way that he does about G2, but it's definitely an issue that's being brought up here. That's on top of the fact that Heroic are bringing the 0 with everything. So questions still that I would like to ask in a different matter, or at least different questions at this point. But Secret are bringing Kendra on the Echo again, and the Warden, just in case it'll be a Desperation Ying, but that won't be the case just now for Heroic.
Heroic have sort of let the big hallowed halls of bank slip through their fingers a little here, including the Secret players that have time and time again punished them for it. And okay, it's something that generally is going to be a little bit more of a strike on the defense, and it's something that this map can offer, but the togetherness of their team is one of the big compliments that is often paid towards Heroic, and here it just seems a little bit disjointed, a little bit of those remnants of some of the down hard to play that we saw around the recent major. Saves, in the meantime, has been a big bite of a couple of these rounds that have gone into the success side of Secret, and he's going to see if he can try and lead in with that. Playing underneath the Skylight hatch, wasting time, wasting utility on the slowest approach we've had from Heroic as of this moment. A minute's passed, and they still haven't truly found their way into a fight, but it's going to come soon. Sloth popping up the top of the stairs.
Fight's gotta come soon. Look where Slubben is. The grenade will go out and take down Keenan, and Slubben going in for the fight, unfortunately, loses it to Sloth with the UMP. 2 great kills here for Heroic, but Savage is on the retreat. Might be able to find some solids. Grenade will rain in, and still is alive, so Heroic have gained the map control that they want, but Saves is still lurking. The Hungry Shark! Fluke.
Well, the Hungry Shark has been beached, and now Gorgona's going to start to see if they can lock it down. Maybe the first time I've seen the Jackal pings actually pop off for the huge amount of time we've seen the operator picked. Usually they've drove themselves in for an early fight and unfortunately found, well, the back end of at least second player after getting a good bite of the first. The pings come through onto Savage. She has a couple of fires, but none of them are really connecting with the players on the opposite side. Just past a minute. At this point, a 5 versus 2. Steady structural work being done on the second story. The eyes have the players this time. Heroic knows Secret have been slippy, and they're making sure that they don't fall victim to it again. Kendrew gets 1 before he gets taken out. Savage is all that's left. The first is his. The second smokes cover any movement. You can see they're setting themselves up for the pressure in the plant. Reno's going to get it stuck in. They head all the way to the top floor. It's the right decision here, but a post plant now, and many players left to take.
Yeah, this will be a very tough one here for Savage on 50 HP. He's going to drop. No dropping through that hatch here. And Jenner will walk all the way around and go through main stairs. There's somebody watching in open area. There definitely should be, and there it is. Gorgona will end the round, who's been having a banger of game. Not gonna lie, Gorgona finding the right kills at the right time. Good distance. Uno hopefully was only breakdancing. Nope, he has left the game. So that's a way to do it. Hopefully he'll be back very quickly. But we're gonna have a quick look at our latest operator. Again, if that would be possible. Fluke, what do you think about that?
Unfortunate that we do have to see that logo in the middle, but it happens. We'll hopefully be back in sooner rather than later. You know, as you can see in the bottom right, has been digitized.
I'm asking some, some questions in my head. Uno has had a crash, but I'm not sure if we'll continue playing the round. We will be continuing. There we go. Okay. We are getting the information from our admins. Thank you very much. So there it is, 5v4. And this is going to hurt for Heroic on the split, 3-3, which, not great, but still able to come back from it. You won't have to deal with flank issues as much in this side, but it's now with a man down. How much can you weigh that in? Defense up in open area. Castles in. Malusi Wamai Mute is definitely a surprise, I guess, looking at the past few rounds, but...
Okay, there's the rehearsed call.
Well... Okay,
Well, I believe within the rules they can do that. It's up until a certain amount of time. They already used their rehost.
Yeah, for another crash that Uno had.
I thought that was a tech.
I don't know. We will continue.
Displayed on us. Yeah, I guess we'll continue. We can only say what's said in our ears.
There we go.
To my knowledge, it was displayed as a tech on our side, but we'll get clarification there sooner rather than later. Maybe that was just a little bit of a misuse from the side, but hey, we will get you enlightened. Unfortunately, for this point, that means Heroic, if that is all the relevant play, they're going to be trying to drive themselves through onto this, the lockdown on the top of square. And, well, it's a bit of a blow because on bank, you're generally working against the current. More than a lot of other maps, attack have a lot going for them, and it's going to start here with a bit of aggression onto Secret. They know they've got a bit of an advantage. They have a time until Uno might be back in the game, and they've got to try and make sure that they can get at least 1, maybe 2 rounds out of the trouble. Sloth, he's the strike first. Seven maybe got a little bit too quick for his own comfort. Now tucked in with no health. It's a thinker. They can get themselves back up, but not very quickly. Look at that. There's going to be a gun 6 pressure onto the door. Looks and just misses the toes. The breach and the break on the window as well. The kit's there. They have everything teed up for a rush, and Sloth is the one man that's kind of do everything to stop it.
Oh, there's so much utility being fired off as much as he can before the eventual grenade comes to him, but none of that will be happening. Slubben might just be waiting to heal himself back up again. But otherwise, this has just been a halt. Team Secret have taken control of the map, a lot of the power positions, and they're going to use this to their advantage. Like, okay, hey, there's no need for us to rush. We're 5v4. There's absolutely no reason for us to get so aggressive. Savage will get 1 kill, but Slevin is going to fire back into his teammate. At least it won't be an advantage for Heroic here, but still, 4v3, a kill has been done and has been collected by Slevin. He's going to walk in, destroy the castle barricade, and at least get himself ready for an eventual push. Sloth is going to capitalize on this, however. No, he takes a bit of damage, still alive, barely retreats back, but no, the double peek does not work. It saves to collect it.
Well, Grizzly is then in a cacophony of bullets, including the ones that bounce off the back of the wall from the drop down. They found the double kill.
That was very quick and very unfortunate. 9, just barely above the halfway mark. So a win today is definitely needed, and maybe it is also expected of Heroic against Team Secret. Lost today against Secret would definitely put a bit of a dampener on the performance of Heroic so far. So they're sitting pretty at 4th spot with 8 points, but outsiders, anybody else really could just jump up and take it today.
I mean, it becomes one of these things of Team Secret, because if you look at their previous plays across any general games, it's not been fantastic. Their last A-tier tier 1 victory was in April, quite early on in April, and they got 2 back-to-backs on Cafe. They're the only wins they've gotten over this year of competitive Siege at tier 1. They've pulled a point, and all 3 of those were on Cafe. It was on that sort of technical map, and yeah, there's been roster changes since then. It's always something you got to note, but you have to still look at this as a core, and this is a current swing, because at the end of the day, your points that you get in the first split, the second split, and the third split are the ones that add to who might not make it.
Not in every region, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
So it's one of those things where if they can get a good swing here, and obviously it was the 5 versus 4. Now it's a 5 versus 5, but it's still that start. It's still that lean in. Hey, Amaru, what you doing?
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to be that good old rappel up, with the Amaru up into the hatches, but it's got to start with Keenan getting kill here, and maybe he's a bit too slow. No, he hits it. Gorgona instantly shot down. That was a great headshot from Keenan. That's a perfect entry for Team Secret that now have a pretty big opener looking for information. I'm wondering why there's no drones in front of Keenan to give him that intel.
Elevator.
But he doesn't check it. And that's a bit of a shame there. But job's been done.
Doesn't matter. The pressure comes through on the opposite side. They're inside the site. They found 2 for their trouble. They've almost got the 3rd, and there's Kendry locking it in. The Ying and the Candelas rolled their way all the way through. They're going to see if they can get the stick on the backside. Heroic, a little bit too much attention paid elsewhere. The impact doesn't quite get the kill, but when you've still got all the others and they're back up, I mean, that's it. That was a very, very well put together sharp strike.
That did not look great. I know, that's expert analysis, as you're always looking for here in the EU League, but there's definitely no 2 ways around it. I believe a timeout has been...
Where we're at.
Thank you very much for that, Emmy.
It's okay. I try my best.
And you know what? I very much appreciate your best. And I think we all do at this point, despite us not being in the studio. Casting from the UK and your side, casting from a hotel room in France from mine, still doing our best to make sure the show keeps running and we get to do something, because it gets frankly boring when you're sitting in a room doing nothing all the time, awaiting the good moments of EU League and APAC to come in and be like, oh, finally, this is going to be the fun part of my day. So we're in. I wonder how I sound like today, to be honest with you, but I'm definitely sounding a bit better than Heroic in the server right now. So take that with whatever grains and buckets of salt as you'd like to see. Heroic on the defense. Just a reminder for everyone, the pulse is in. Uno is playing it out. And I wonder how much effort Heroic are going to put on this top floor to hold on. Secret on the other side, they're bringing, LMG still. They got the LMGE, they're bringing the Ace, they're bringing the Habana. They got a very flexible setup, especially with that Yana.
All right, Secret, you've been sharp, and now you're instantly knocking on the side door once again. You want to make sure the pressure stays hot, and it starts with Keenan swinging around and getting one. Drop down on the back. Sleben's looking for the fight on the side of Square. They're tucked behind a plant, and they get a very important win out. But Benja, they're in a tricky situation to try to pull themselves a little bit closer to a sense of safety. Savage is on the windows on the other side. Benja bites his way back into the site, looks for the one on the windows, can't quite have the bullet's capacity. No. And now, as very quickly as it started, it's at least petered to a bit of a slow. Hasn't fully stopped. Savage and Kendrew are still alive, and they do still have some of the destruction done to the players in the site itself. But with the backline, including Gorgona, who's had a great game so far, in 2 minutes, we have a moment to talk.
Yeah, at least all quiet on the northeastern front at this point. Just waiting for Kendrew to make the move. There's so much time left in this round. Secret are the ones to make a move. So Heroic finally have an advantage in quite a few rounds. And all they have to do, especially with the Pulse on the line, is sit back and sit tight. You can attempt a Nitro. There's only one grenade you have to fear for, so it's not a ton that you're going to have to watch out for. Yeah, once that grenade goes off, then you're sitting pretty. You don't have to worry about, losing any unnecessary manpower in that positions. Savage, there's the grenade being cooked up. Can you find anybody on the other side? No, as there is nobody on the other side. And that's all the explosive damage done and dusted. There's no Qaed in this round. I'm wondering what the mute can do. Well, not much. Kendrew's just going to walk into site solo, and Gorgon's going to find him. All right, Savage is all alone now.
All alone with 50 seconds and 3 players ahead of them, and he's had a good lead in, but this is tricky when you go for a rush, chances are you haven't been able to do much of the technical destruction of the map itself. As you can see, there's a couple of stunned out ex-Kairos, a cold kit, and only really a single door opened, but that gets closed in their face. Heroic, their time out leads to a round of success, but they still need a couple more.
So, Heroic able to bring it back. Secret are looking for at least the equalizer. At that point, I know it sounds really cool. Oh, what are you looking for? The equalizer. You get to overtime and you guarantee yourself 1 point, which Secret, by the way, have none of. That would be Secret's first point, and all they need is 1 round to get that job done. Now, in a twist, Grizzly has brought out the 870. So this is a Jaeger that you don't see often, usually associated with a French style of play. Remember back in the olden days how they'd be running it with a pistol only. So I wonder if Grizzly was kind of doing a bit of trolling in his unranked games before he got in today, but I'm looking to see. This shotgun can do work if it's set up properly. There's the Azami also being brought up by Gorgona, already setting up a couple of his kunais there, and otherwise it does make sense given the fact that Grizzly might be playing on the staircase. Uno is also bringing the FMG9, so you need a shotgun to do some work, especially if Sloth is not bringing his own. So there it is. There's the position we're going to see. Grizzly is going to be set up in what a lot will call the Ella spot, or at least the Warden spot too. It's just a spot where with a shotgun you can do work.
Dug in now. The Azama. Azama?
Azama?
Azama. This is the new operator.
I thought I was going nuts.
Sorry. That elite, the Azami. And Magical Knives is going to give them a little bit more control and a little bit more of a chance to swing back. But to be honest, from the side of Heroic, we haven't really seen as much of that play that we saw from Secret work so well on their defenses. But to be honest, adding on to that, true honesty is Secret have been pretty quick, pretty sharp, and pretty aggressive on their approaches, and here that's going to be the same thing. It doesn't really seem like Heroic have much of a chance, and a change as soon as one of them is under pressure from one fight, suddenly it's all across the board. There's damage being done on stock, there's pressure coming from beepers, and there is obviously a bit of that mounting over Square as well. So Gorgona, he's tucked in and ready to go as soon as the bells and whistles of Savage start to knock.
Very well done there for Gorgona to understand when it is the best time to back out of a gunfight. This is not the one to try to take. And Grizzly's still uncontested. He's going to be feeling really good about this. There's a minute and a half left here in the round, and the least that you can do in this spot is burning time. Save's going to use up his utility here, so the Fuse is going to be trying at least to catch somebody off inside a server, but there is nobody in there. Uno has rotated away, and how much utility is left in this case? Well, 2 more. Look at how Secret are piling on up. Grizzly's going to be forced back. There's no extra charge to go off from the Fuse as things are being caught off. And look how much time has been lost here, Fluke. This is doing tremendous work for Heroic.
Well, that's it. That's the game that they're playing. They're pulling themselves back, and Grizzly at the bottom with the M870 wants to swing up and find a friend. He doesn't quite get the full lock-in with the pellets, but he knows that they're close, and Slevin knows it's a dangerous fight to take. No more grenades to try and bounce their way through, but all of the Finker charges for the push, and not even enough time to use all of them. The fire starts to burn. Savage finds Grizzly at the bottom of the stairs. That gives him some of the control of green, but there's Benja to try and retake it. The breach and the hatch and the pressure is coming through. And now tucked in and waiting for a second head to pop up. Don't quite get the full catch, but they do enough to sort of say we're here. 20 seconds though, and they're still trying to get that kit down. They're still trying to put the pressure onto the site itself. Kendrew, he's tucked in. He's going for the plant, and there's a lot of bodies watching this single hatch, this rotation. Uno, he can't quite make it all the way through. They've somehow found the kit in and amongst it. The canister didn't quite stop it, and now they've got a very tricky retake. 2 of them up, 2 of them flat. Over the top and all the way, as they're going to see if they can try and get the drop on the players. 3, in fact. They know how important the vertical is. The first fight is going to happen just round to their right-hand side. They've tucked themselves in further back, and there it is. Sleben, oh, he pops off, finds 2 for his trouble. Benja at least gets 1 back. Less than 20 seconds, and Uno's still trying to do some work inside the site. There it is. Now the fight onto servers. Another spray round. Uno's able to get 1, does a lot of damage, but can't quite get the kit down. They're out of time at this point, and Secret find themselves on map point.
It's happened. They collect their first point in the league. Can we get some easy claps in chat? Big day for Team Secret here in the stage. Happiness reigning all around, and they are 1 away from total and absolute victory. Heroic, their only shot is to win 2 more. And it'll be a pain if Heroic are not able to collect all points, which at this point is impossible. But at least commiseration points, you know, getting 1 or 2 at the end of the day, going to overtime, that would be a massive drop for them, because then they would be able to keep in the running in the top 4. You know, Wolves, Rogue, BDS, they've not played their games yet. There's a lot of potential to vary things around in that leaderboard, and next week is again a super week. There's a lot that you're going to have to deal with and a lot of work there, so Heroic, it's time to get that work done. A bit of damage done here in between teammates, but it's all fine. You know, all's fair in love and war.
What's a bit of damage, but between friends?
Between friends, that's true. Emotional damage usually is what you have between friends, though. But that's digging too far. Let's go back into it.
Yes. Back into it and back into Heroic. Trying to fight to hold on to points, and it's worth sort of, you know, throwing up there that obviously they were one of the hot favorites. They came in and had a very good lead in on those early games. They lost and dropped their first points, you know, not too long ago. They had a bit of a scrappy fight, and they currently find themselves sitting into 4th from what was a locked in OT. They are only 1 point ahead of Outsiders now. They're 2 points ahead of Devenem and Na'Vi. They could find themselves falling out of the top 4 if they don't get any points today.
Yeah, it definitely could happen, and you don't want to be there if you're Heroic. You know the last major already weighed very heavily on them. Not making it to the next is a G2 moment if I've ever seen one. So, Saves now, setting up, opening up the wall. Secret are wasting no time hurrying up and gaining any advantage and capitalizing on any advantage they already had. A lot here to open up that a site to enter into CEO. Uno is set solo inside of Janitor, which is the way of things. Is the way that it's always been done. But he's got to be careful. I was just going to say, Uno, no. He got too comfy, and he got shot down forward, but at least a refrag for Heroic.
That's it. Benja still able to get in and get a little bit back, and that's the important part here, is just slowing the roll of Secret. And it's the only round that Heroic have been able to win, and sure, it came off the back of a bit of a failed rush, but without the work of Benja swinging around and stopping it from the backside, it could have been a very different moment. The Impact, just going to use it to get rid of that drone. Just going to use it to make sure they feel a bit safer. The discs giving them some of the control here over stock, and there's just this steady sort of bout and gambit here. How long can they sit here, and how long until Secret reorganizes the push with Kendra on the Ossa? They've got the swing, they've got the cover of the smokes, and now they've got somebody with boots on the inside.
And Kendrew, he's looking around for flanks here, but it's Benja that already has found saves. In the meantime, Gorgona gets another. Keenan has walked into Janitor, the place where Uno was just a moment ago, but Sloth is able to shut him down. Savage with a refrag, but Gorgona dives straight out the window and up the top floor. Look out below, and next thing you know, you'll be on the floor. There it is. And the final shot that you want. There's a reference for all the fans out there, but it's been done.
Those.
Do they? Do you know what?
Love a good reference.
Do you know where that reference is from? You should know.
Wasn't listening.
Oh.
I've never listened to you. Well, what did you say?
That ties back to my early round conversation. Solo conversation, apparently.
I thought you were referencing Mankind Hell in the Cell.
No, it was Rey Mysterio, but close enough. Better than others. But here we are. That's for all the OGs. Secret 6-5, still heroic, able to do great damage there. So, what can be done for heroic to bring it back? They do have the Aruni, which oddly enough we have not seen much of here in this game yet. So I'm wondering how Sloth can use those Surya gates to clear out utility, any grenades that are being lobbed at the team. Combos very nicely with the castle. And the 1 too. Not bad.
It's good. It all sort of leads itself well into getting some control. I think what we've seen from Secret here, and obviously on the last push, was a good breakdown of that. They had an idea. Sorry, talking of the last push, last successful push on this sort of aggress over the top, where they had those Candelas, they had that drive, and they had the early bodies, but it was the distraction play of the Amaru actually swinging around on the opposite side that sort of drew the focus away from the work that could be done by the other Secret players. We're 1 round separated here from OT. Secret, they are 1 round separated from taking their first point and turning it into a precious 3, which actually kind of draws them up points-wise with the other teams on the bottom of the board. This split, it's so precious to try and take and capitalize here on the best they've already played, but the closest they could be.
So, what does it go down here for heroic? Remember, they're the ones holding on. They need to take this to overtime, and it's got to happen in this round, or else it is over. That's the point between getting no points and at least 1 point out of 3 at the end of our Playday. It's going to happen off the back of Benja, who's been playing out of his mind so far for the team, but Gorgona has been too. So everybody's going to be stepping up, playing their best for this round, and I'm wondering how heroic can burn time off of Team Secret, because one thing I've seen from Secret is that when they see an opening, they really dive into it. We saw it a couple rounds ago when they attempted that take into CEO. So they're going to need to do that again for that, top floor control. They got the buck with saves, but taking up the staircase is always a difficult fight, not unless you're Slubin that just walks in and gets the kill. But importantly, he has a drone right in front of him. Great team play from Secret.
Now Slabin, a slow creep down the white stairs to just hold and let the precious drones roll their way across. There's no more pressure than when you're on the precipice of taking a win. All the confidence and bravado of those quick plays, they become much trickier and riskier to try and pull off, and they're going with their slow and steady approach, and one that has had a little bit of mixed success. Sloth could be the start of the strike back, wins it out and pulls himself just tucked in, so they can't quite get the trade. Nobody's going to swing down white stairs, and they're going to get a little bit of a rotate onto Beepers, hoping to bait the play. But the play hasn't come for them. Finally get some of this control over the side of Tellers. They got to try and pop this wall and go for the plant itself, and well, with Keenan getting Gorgona, they might have a little bit more to work with. Slevin can swing around and try and stop the play. Grizzly has the cross angle. Sloth has the door here. He's making sure that nobody gets an early easy entrance, but with that breach open, they can try and get it stuck down. Uno locks into Savage on the far side. Grizzly swings round, but it's Sloth that gets the last connection there, and now as the pings come across, they've just got to try and cover the planter. Kendrew, he's all that's left. He's holding F. They've just got to find him. We are going to OT.
It has happened. In the moment you see Gorgona recoiling back, happy with the result, at least here, able to take it to overtime. Heroic definitely won't be happy with, you know, an OT not getting all 3 points, but they're happy given the situation here where the Berlin Major. Very excited to hear all the stories and see all the videos of people there, because EU crowds are 10 million times better than NA crowds. Just put it out there and make it very clear. And to witness those crowds, Heroic, they're gonna need, I know a lot of pressure on all the fans attending, but Heroic are gonna need to gather up those points and remain in the top 4. Only the top 4 teams in the EU League will qualify to the major from the region. Simple as that. And Heroic are back on the defense now, playing an open area. Now the question is, how do they set this up? They're going to bring the mute again, and Uno running the pulse. Double nitros to play out with.
Ah, Secret, you've taken your tack time out, and it was a couple of points maybe that you've dropped, but it's at least 1, and that is going to be that big blow, because if you could make a top dog bleed, well, it's a trail that you can follow and really build behind here. You've at least been able to secure a point and get yourself off the board and make sure that you're not the only one sitting there in the angle towards the end of the season without any for your trouble and for your name. Especially, as we said, it's not just about how you perform in this split, but the 3 over the course of the year that really dictates the fate of a team, and you don't want to consistently be the one that is struggling on that precipice.
So, how does this pan out here for Team Secret? They're just walking in. They got a drone ahead. No, there was none for Slubin. He dies disgracefully to Grizzly there, but Kenya's able to shoot back, take down Benja in this case, turn it into a 4v4, but a big loss. The Mute and the Nitro, and on the other side, the Finka. This is as equal as a loss is going to get at this point.
Just trying to get a bit of an angle here. Secret staying on their attack and just trying to, I guess, hold on to some of the pace and momentum. As I said, they know what has been pulled away from them, and they know that there's been a little bit of a blow in terms of what they could have taken away from here, but it's still not over, and that's the main draw that you have to try and build behind here. Locked over the top of square. A couple of angles, bits of intel, a steady sort of stream that isn't really amounting to the pace and the control and the grabs of the players that they've got so far. As you said, the trade-off between Sleben and Benja is one where you've lost the Finker, but you've taken out Benja, which, to be honest, as a player, as a title, more than anything, is a huge bit.
That's very true. That's even an extra layer on top of it. The second-rated player on this team, a lot will consider the best, at least in the fragging department. Gorgona has been putting up the numbers, at least in this game so far, but not far behind. You don't want to be losing star players in a position where you could be heading into the major, really, if you're getting those extra points. But there's still just under a minute left, and a Heroic, all they got to do is sit tight. It is enough time to set up for a take, but might not be enough with the lack of utility. Kendra's going to be careful here when crossing over. He's going to be careful to not get swiped from everybody inside of library, anybody inside of library. Una is also playing way down below, with no possibility for Team Secret to take him down. 30 seconds left. This has got to happen now. Oh, Savage!
Well, it's Keenan that finds Gorgona. Savage goes down, but they're going to get picked back up after a huge swing and spray round. Secret, 15 seconds though, and the kit is the most important part of this. It just takes a second to score, and it just takes Uno to take the head off for 1, get dropped down. It's 3 versus 1. Sloth is all that is stopping it, and he gets the kit. The swing is close though. Savage just able to get that final piece of the puzzle, but it was so almost strewn across the floor.
Yeah, those rounds ending in the last second with a 1v1, they do something to you. Not gonna lie. And right now, it's really weighing heavily on Heroic, I'd imagine. You know, I know, looking at myself and how I do things, Em, you might be inclined to believe that I was a top professional player in my heyday. But people don't think that about Fabian, so why should they about me? But here, Heroic have to face a major obstacle. The thing that helps them out, though, is the fact that they are on the attacking side. And they're bringing the same lineup that we saw from them before that Jackal that's coming out again with the Zero. This is something that we saw adapted to by Team Secret. They brought out the Warden, which I did not mention around 6 or 7 rounds ago, but that is an adaptation to, hey, what if they just smoke and push, because they might actually do it. None will be played out here. We're back to the Alibi, and I'm wondering if Secret will play more of a ultra defensive setup, which is poke and prod in the beginning, but then if you need to, play the Pulse and Gold Vault like the olden days. You got 2 Nitro Cells, one of them being the Pulse, the extra on the Qa'id. You got flexibility, but you can get Sleben on the roam when needed. There it is. That's the annoying part, by the way, for all those that have not seen it. You know, this is just the Alibi Prismas that have been set up down below in the sewers. It's just, it annoys you. And honestly, competitive advantage, if you ask me.
I mean, that's it. That's the play on them. They'll often get dropped and dragged. They're thrown around and put on the floor to cause problems. And a problem is sometimes that they do this and they pop up for a while. You've either got to get rid of them to get them off your screen, or you've got to go through them. Or ignored the first time round. But so is a lot of dirt here. It's been a much quicker response. It gives the game away that somebody is hanging around. Oh no, in fact, they are still standing up. They were removed for a second because we don't have the words on the screen. Maybe I'm just expecting too much.
Wouldn't hold your breath.
2 stories of terror. No catch. And here it is. Heroic. They're trying to piece together the loose players, because if we throw our minds back, that has been the big problem. Savage especially saves as well, having those moments where they get themselves tucked into a corner. Kendrew was the start of that, though, on the very first round inside. Kansan? No bite this time. They're wasting everything that they can in terms of attention, in terms of focus on the upper stories. Uno is trying to get a lead round here. The Maverick burns his way through. Saves is playing underneath. The Pulse had all the cool in the world, but now he follows him running away.
And sometimes it is a skill, you know, to say, hey, as the Pulse, I can choose to capitalize on this moment, but will it be better served for me to leave my Nitro for later on in the round? I believe that that was the proper call for saves, not to get over-aggressive. Sleben can use this hatch to his advantage later on. It just comes down to how quiet can he get until that point. Saves given a bit of information before there's any sort of dive, and going to walk back in to help support. The Habana has walked away, and there's nobody watching this flank. Heroic's biggest issue, reminder for everybody so far, has been flank drones. And Uno might just be the one to save the day here, if he can keep this drone in and held.
Well, that's it, but he's also got the kit, so he can't be too laser focused on it. Do they know that somebody is right close? Because they got to find that out sooner rather than later. Take the drop, Sleben. He could tear everything apart. They're down, they're low, they're out of there. There's 1, there's 2, there's a cold kit. It's a 2 versus 2, 15 seconds. Saves, knocked off the door. Kendrew is all that's left. Can take his team through into 2 points here and lock this in on a win. Waiting for the hold on the pause. Sloth has got the kit back in, but he doesn't get there. Gorgona had the cross angle. We have every single round.
We're gonna get all of them. That's the crazy part about it there, is that there were so many angles for you to check in that position. You know, you're last alive, you're making sure, okay, I know there's a lot of action happening in Vault. Did somebody extra drop in through there? Or, you know, am I gonna have to deal with the hallway? There's so much for you to watch that, of course, in hindsight, you're going to think, oh, why didn't he check garage? Well, there's actually quite a few spots for you to have in mind for this sort of situation here. But still, Secret have collected 1 point. They potentially can get a second. That all comes down to Heroic, that are looking for their second point in this matchup. And, you know, with my clogged nose and all, I'll be able to tell you still that Heroic were able to get a victory a couple of, earlier last week, and that was against M&M that also went to overtime. So 2 points there, 3 points against BDS the week before, and against Poens in the start. 2 points today can definitely be incredibly helpful against Team Secret. Comes down to how well they can set things up around. I like the Warden pick, because it can reek of a secret rush, and at least trying to use smokes for their advantage. But Kendrew and the rest of Secret are taking it a different way. They're getting the Monty, so we might be seeing a walk up those stairs to take control of CEO. I would love to see this crawl actually come to fruition. The turtle.
Is this the turtle?
It's the turtle. It's the classic Testudo.
But they're up against Turtle of their own, Kendrew with the shield. And the Turtle defense, which will be the one that has the harder shell, which will be the one that has the chutzpah to take them to the 2 points. At this point, well, I mean, we've talked about how pressured it is for Secret. We've also talked about how the fact that Heroic, I think they'll be able to keep themselves in the top 4 from this, but still, from being one of the top 3 favorites to being one of the ones on that precipice of not making the major, it's a bit of a big blow here. The pressure starts over Kanto. The pressure just to force and isolate the players. They don't quite have the stop on the breach. Now they've got the angle. The player is inside the elevator. They could try and take a drop if they wanted to. Savage on the window, looking for the long arm angle. But again, with the pace slowing down over the past few rounds, the Monty on the steady approach up the spiral stairs might be the first one that finds the fight here.
So there it is. Keep on walking up. Yeah, you got something beeping at you, but it's all right. Won't be in the end of the world. Savage takes a tiny bit of damage here and some loud screams being heard on the other side, but they'll be fine. It's just a flesh wound. There you go. Kendra slowly walking up, and Keenan cooking up his grenade, wondering if they got the info. There it is. Grizzly is down, but you got to collect that information. Is there a drone to confirm it? Grizzly, he died to the most, I guess, basic part, which is always check these elevators, please, for the love of God, and his body's gonna flung down to that first floor. Kendra is doing a lot of work here at the top against the Warden, but Dragon has found the kill that's needed.
Oh, tucked in the spray. The Monty's able to get one more, and they're trying to get that kit closer and closer. It's in the pockets of Kendrew, and with the battle back over the side of the white stairs, Uno becomes that bit of a back line. A couple of kits have snuck their way through. Gorgona is back in the elevator. He's now isolated the Monty off and actually takes the drop down. How aware they are? Well, he doesn't trust that they're not entirely aware. 30 seconds and a bit of a rotate. Keenan's trying to offer some support. Saves. He's finding himself an angle, I believe, over to the top of white, maybe onto stock itself. Uno is still that back line. You can see the Monty is trying to get himself in as well. The smokes cover the attempt on the plant. They suffered in this similar way before, but it saves that gets Gorgona the spray round. Benja moves up, finds the kit, gets it cold, but Keenan has the trade in the refrag. Uno, and 10 seconds, all that's left. There's a player holding the window. There's one going for the plant on the kit. The long desk is locked in as well. They've moved it off to a different location. Gets one. But this is one of the tougher retakes in this game. They have a player outside. They're on the window rappel. There's one tucked in on the close corners. They're just leading in and waiting. They know that the pressure is on Uno's side. On the left, the spray draws the attention, but it's Secret that walk away with 2 points.
I can't believe it. It has happened. Team Secret, 2 points at the end of this hard-fought victory. Panya Zofia is definitely very happy with the situation here. Savage and the rest of the squad taking it for Team Secret. Not only is this their first win, but it's their first win in the stage